All right, guys, welcome back to the chat room. It's been a while. I'm here with Will and Caleb. We're going to get to the tournament, but we want to get this NFL stuff out of the way. We're going to start with Odell to the Browns. Will, what do you think of this?
Obviously, Odell's a good player. I think more than that, it brings excitement to Cleveland, and then you're going to pair him with Jarvis Landry, former LSU teammates. I think they're going to have a bit of a connection. It's obviously going to help Baker in his sophomore year. Give him just another target to shoot. What do you think?
I mean, look, when it comes to Cleveland, they had a great run last year. In the second half, they were great. Mm-hmm. But they're the most overrated team in football. I mean, you come in here and you get Beckham, okay, and he does wonders for your offense. Mm-hmm. But there's just one football, right? There's just one. So I mean, you have Odell Beckham, who wants to get a lot of targets. Jarvis Landry, who wants to get a lot of targets. David Njoku, who wants targets. Caldwell wants targets. And you got Chubb, and now you add Hunt to the mix. I think it's a lot to ask for offensively. I don't know how I feel on their defense. While I think they made the right moves, getting some guys like Olivier Vernon and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I just think we should slow it down a little bit. Let's just slow the roll on them a little. I think, the debate of last couple of days, I think we'll get into this later in the pod with the Colts and what they've done. I mean, I'm not hearing, the people I've been, following or whatever, or taking a look at, saying the Browns could be better than the Colts this season. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not hearing it. I just think the Browns are the most overrated team in football right now with that move. I think it's a great move. I would have done that move. I'm just saying I think the way they're being looked at, I'm not sold on it.
But more realistically, with the drop of the Steelers, I mean, that division's kind of up for grabs.
Browns are taking that division.
That's what I'm thinking. I think they could win it easily this year.
What's the record, though? What's the record?
I think 10-6 will win it.
9. I think 9-7. I think that division.
So you're saying 9-7 would be a tight division? Yeah. 9-7 is a tight division.
Yeah.
So who's pushing them? Baltimore?
That's it.
I think Baltimore, if anything.
Because my argument is, I think by the end of the season we could be talking about Baltimore winning the division.
Lamar?
I think Cleveland's taking it. They got a hell of a defense.
So you're sold on their defense?
Yeah. I think Baker's going to take a step up. He's got top 5 receiver now. They're going to be in business.
Who are you going to guard? I mean, I know there's only one ball, but a
lot of personality. I think it's a lot of drama there. I'm just going to be honest. And I don't know. I think it's a great move for them. I'm not trying to, bash that. I would have done it every time. I just think when it comes to the Browns, I want to see a year out of them. We were talking about one of the worst teams, one of the worst franchises in football over the last 10 years. Yeah. This has been a poorly ran franchise for a long time.
Yeah.
Since our lifetime. So I can't get sold on a team that's been ran so poorly. So I want to, let me get a couple games in. But at this point, the way that I think some media has been looking at the Browns, I'm not sold on. But I think they could be a team that could make a run. I want to see some games. You know what I'm saying?
What are the Giants doing? What are they doing? This makes no sense. They just signed him to this 5-year, $95 million. There's really no reason to trade him. And Saquon's carrying the load now if he wasn't already.
I don't
get it from the Giants.
I think they're going straight into rebuild. I mean, I don't know what it is. They got a young Saquon. I don't know what you're going to do in the draft. I mean, where do you go in the draft at this point? You need some safety. You need a safety. You probably need another wide receiver. But, again, you got to prepare for the future because Eli has, 3 at the
37-year-old Eli Manning at quarterback.
If he's Tom Brady and he's got 3 and the last one, he's going to be on the bench for about 5 games.
Yeah, he's done. Eli's done.
He's
been done for 2 years.
He's done. Look, I thought this ridiculous. Okay, you trade away this nice cornerstone piece in Beckham, and whether you can hate, some of the things that he's done, but if we're talking production in the NFL, I mean, We're talking about a top 5 wide receiver. I mean, really, really no debate here, boys. And I just think, and then what happens now is the Giants, who said they don't want to draft the quarterback, there was reports earlier in the day, Dwayne Haskins all of a sudden just goes meets with this team after the Giants said they don't feel like they need a quarterback right now because they'd rather pay Eli Manning.
Yeah.
And instead of saving like $13 million, they're gonna go out and get, what are they doing?
Yeah.
I really agree, Zach. I don't get it. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, you think a rebuilding makes sense. Let's just go sign Golden Tate to a 4-year deal. Let's just go do that.
Yeah.
Can we sign him to about $7 million each year? I think that's a good idea. I'm rebuilding and I want to get better in the future. But let's go get Golden Tate. He's 31 years old. He'll be there for 10 more years, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Are you freaking kidding me, Dave Gettleman? I don't get it. I don't get it. Zach, take it away before I just start ranting.
You mean Sterling Shepard's your guy now? Evan Ingram's your guy?
Ridiculous.
Evan Ingram.
I don't see it.
Ridiculous.
Let's move on to AB. He's in a black hole now. He's gone. I don't know if we're ever gonna hear from him again. Raiders. I mean, I don't know what the Raiders are doing. They got a lot of first-round picks, but I don't know.
The Raiders just, I don't know. I thought Gruden was a good idea, and I mean the Raiders before Carr, breaks his leg or whatever,
they were good.
They're a contender.
Yeah.
They're a legitimate team, and so people before this past season were down on the Raiders a bit, and I didn't really see it. I didn't really see it. Even with all the drama before, I was like, Carr's a decent QB. Gruden, I mean, come on, he can't be that bad, right? And now it's just like, even with AB, I don't see anything happening. I feel it's like just too much of a mess over there. You trade Khalil Mack, give him to the Bears for nothing, almost. I mean, what are you doing?
Here's my take. I think you trade for Antonio Brown when you can.
Yeah, I agree there, though.
The value for him, if you're Oakland, is worth it. As Zach mentioned earlier, they have multiple first-round draft picks, and there's a reason they have that. So to be able to go get players like him and of his caliber, but then also build through the draft again. So all I'm doing, if I'm John Gruden, is I'm taking advantage of the supply of the surplus of draft picks I have, and I'm flipping it to get arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL. That's what I'm doing. That will help your team. Antonio Brown is not old. Antonio Brown will help your team for a long period of time. He's a good ball player. And look, I mean, there's some things I don't like. Running game's going to be rough. Mm-hmm. They don't really have anybody. I mean, they're going to go with Lynch at this age. Are you kidding me? And you got this offensive line, Donald Penn, their left tackle, Pro Bowl type of dude. He gets cut. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what are you doing? Protecting Derek Carr after it felt like Derek Carr just got sacked every other time by the Colts' mediocre defensive line. I mean, I don't see. I do think this move is something I would do if I'm the Raiders, but I'm extremely fascinated on how they try to approach the next couple of years in terms of building the draft, in terms of making a trade, maybe trying to make that. Are they trying to get away from Derek Carr? Yeah. There was some, rumors in the past about that. Are they going to consider picking a guy like Haskins at the top of the draft? I mean, I can see it. I'm just going to be honest. I can see it. I mean, I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr's a good player, but I mean, it's John Gruden, and John Gruden's been shown to make, and Mike Mayock have been shown to make moves that are, a little bit puzzling at first, but all of a sudden it works together.
And on the defensive side, they signed Burfict, right?
Montez Burfict.
Yeah, who's also got some, issues with AB, but that's another thing to talk about. But they got Clay Matthews from the Packers, who I'm not saying is a phenomenal player at all, but I mean, he can make tackles, I feel like. So that gives you some indications that maybe they're looking towards the offensive side to draft. But at that point, how do you not take a running back? I mean, you got Marshawn Lynch, who's probably going to be out after the third game. He's old. How do you not take a running back?
I mean, just to clarify for you, I think Clay Matthews signed with the Rams.
Oh, did he really?
Yes. But I think that when I'm looking at the Raiders, and I'm looking at what they could be, and they're fascinating. But again, they're taking an approach. I mean, this is a little far-fetched. Okay, they're not exactly doing the same type of thing as the Colts, but they want draft picks.
Yeah.
They're trying to build through the draft. This team realizes they aren't getting past Kansas City in the next 4 or 5 years.
Fair enough.
So I think at this point,
Nobody.
If no one is, no one. I agree. No one in the AFC is. I think there's a couple teams out there that might, but no one at this point that can definitively do it in their division.
No.
And so I think if you are the Raiders, you're saying, okay, I realize that, but it never hurts to go get the best wide receiver in football to a lot of people's eyes for the price that you gave him for. I mean, I believe if this report is correct, San Francisco, okay. They were offering their first-round pick for Antonio Brown. Rejected it.
Yep.
They rejected the move.
Yep.
I mean, so they obviously wanted a collection of stuff.
Yeah.
And the Raiders were able to give them that. They were able to give them that first-round pick, but then they were able to give them some extra stuff that goes along with it. And I think they want to build through the draft, and I think this is a good move. If you can get a player like that for the assets you make, yeah.
Is he the best receiver in the NFL?
I like Julio. I think just as a frame, I think he's quick and he's big too, and he could catch. But he's shifty. I put him right there at 2. Absolutely. What do you think?
This is always a tough one for me. But look, I'm gonna go with Julio. I just think I'm with you, Will. I think a lot of that skill set is similar. Yeah. But I mean, there's a player though that I do think could potentially get there. And Michael Thomas. Yeah. And, I think it'll be very interesting to see what he can do this year, if he's going to be the real deal or not. But I like Julio right now, number 1.
I think Michael Thomas is the best. I think he's already the best. He just dominated games last year.
No, he did. He did. I just don't know. It's like how I think about, it's like he's way better than Edelman, okay? Like, significantly better than Edelman. I'm not trying to debate that. But, is it the system at this point? Or is it just his individual? I want to figure that out. Mm-hmm. I want to see if he can do that again next year. And I believe he will be able to. And if he can do that, that solidifies him. For me, because he's so young and so talented, I think it's possible that they can make a run.
I think those are probably the top 3.
Oh, yeah.
Especially after last season with Odell. But Odell's probably 4 then. He's got to be right there, don't you think? And then I think now this could be me being a homer for my team, but I think someone that you got to start throwing in the top 5 conversation, entering his prime right now, got one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the league, Devontae Adams.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you think about that call?
I don't have a problem.
I don't have too much of a problem with it. I think he's right there.
I think he's top
young.
10 right now. I think he's top 10.
No question.
Yeah,
no question. I mean, he's I want to see another year of it, though. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Give me another year of greatness.
Yeah.
Rodgers
helps.
Rodgers is gonna. Yeah. So I mean, I think let's see what they can do. I mean, they made some moves. Green Bay did.
Yeah.
They said I'm sick and tired of not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they went out and they made some moves. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they approach that. How much does it affect their offense? And no, I'm with you. I think Devontae Adams is in that combo.
Are the Steelers done?
Oh yeah.
I think they're done.
Yeah,
Train wreck.
They've been like a team. I want to compare them to the Spurs a bit in the NBA. I think this is finally.
They're done.
Yeah, their downfall.
I'm with you. No, they're done. They're done. The dysfunction of that team, the last 3 years, 4 years, really. I feel like you hear this stuff all the time from them. Mm-hmm. It got to them, yep. And
they're done.
Now they're done. I agree with Zach. I don't see other getting past Baltimore, and I don't see other getting past Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Le'Veon to the Jets. This is just the classic Jets move. It really is. Just a classic Jets move. I'm gonna look up that contract, see how bad it was.
Well, look.
But you don't sign a guy. What is he? He's almost 30, right?
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, 29.
Little rusty.
Old, yeah.
Little rusty, more than likely.
You could say that. He's 27. Obviously took the year off. 4-year deal. It's a 4-year deal. $35 million guaranteed. I don't like it. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have liked it no matter where he went. I just didn't want him to come here. That was all.
Yeah, I didn't want him in Indy, and it's a gamble. I mean, you got to see if he. You got to see. I mean, if he's anywhere near what he was when he was. If he was anywhere near where he was 2 years ago, even 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's probably worth it, but you got to think. Is this like? And we've been asking this for what 3-4 years now. Is this a year for the Patriots to kind of step back a bit?
No.
And it never is. And if it is, and if we're getting closer to that time, because they don't have Garoppolo anymore, and I think that's essential. I think he was a big piece in their future. And I mean, they got the talent, but is Brady the one working it? And that's what we're gonna see. I don't know about how long Belichick's gonna stay there. He might give it a season. If he's like, I don't like it with Brady, then he's gonna be out. But still, I think it's a gamble. And if I'm not saying Le'Veon Bell could take the Jets to a division championship at this point next year, but maybe in another year you get Brady another year getting hit every Sunday, Yeah. And it's a gamble. I'll leave it there. What do you think?
This is my favorite move in free agency. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, I get the guaranteed money that they're gonna look into. I get that. Mm-hmm. But if you're the Jets, you have to show faith in your young quarterback. You have to say, look, we picked you with this top pick. We're high on you. We think you're a good player. We think you have potential to be a good player. And the running game wasn't there all season for the Jets.
Yeah.
And really, the offense wasn't. The offense just wasn't there. The talent around him was not there. Robbie Anderson's a nice player. They needed help, though. Getting guys like Jamison Crowder to come into the slot, getting a guy like Anderson to be the guy that leads yourself on the perimeter, along with Bell now being a pass-catching threat as well as a running threat. I think it's an interesting move. No, they do not have a shot at beating New England. No, I'm not hearing that.
No.
But I think it's a good move because I'm with you, Will. I think that time of the future's coming. And I think if you're the Jets, you have to do something to show your quarterback that we believe in you and we're giving you weapons so that hopefully you can succeed. And I think the Jets want to become a better football team, and this is the way you do it. You sign a player of that caliber, and you sign a player who can lead your running game. I mean, give me the best running back they've had in the last 10 years. Curtis Martin? I mean, that's the best running back they've had in the last 10 years. And, they've had some guys like Bilal Powell come in and do well at times. Isaiah Crowell this last year.
Chris Ivory.
Yeah,
sure.
Ivory had a spurt.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying they need that consistency. And, to risk that to get maybe what we would think might be the best running back in the NFL, maybe by the end of this year, I don't know. I think it's a good move for the Jets. I think the way they've approached free agency in terms of let's just throw all this guaranteed money at C.J. Mosley. Let's throw all this guaranteed. I don't necessarily think that is the right way to do it. They should be building with the young core by adding draft pieces, but they're not. But I think just this move in particular, I really, really like.
How many years till the Patriots lose the division?
20. 25. It's never going to happen.
It's hard to tell, man. I mean, Brady's ageless.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. As long as they keep that relationship going the way that I think they want to keep it going, then I think it'll be very difficult to see anyone overtake them. But, I mean, you want to contend. You want to play well. Yeah. And I think the Jets made a move to say, we want to improve and we want to get better. And, I get that you guys don't like the move, but, I mean, looking at that move individually, to me, that was the right move. Le'Veon Bell was wanting 50 guaranteed. He was wanting that type of money. And if they get him on $35 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that, and I'm with you guys. I mean, him in Indy, I didn't see the fit just because of the way Mac was running the ball. And I thought the Ravens were an intriguing team. I mentioned on this pod, I thought they were going to have potential, and they were. It came down to them and the Jets. But I think this move doesn't hurt. No. It doesn't hurt the Jets. I think it's a good move. You need a running back. You got to get some pressure off of Sam Darnold. He's a guy that can do that for you.
Rounding out the NFL, we got Justin Houston. to the Colts. I love this move. I love it because it's a 2-year deal. He's 30, so he probably only has like 2 or 3 more really good years. He had 9 sacks last year, and he only played 12 games, I think. Yeah. He only played 12 games.
What a beast. I thought this move was unreal, to get him at the price they got him at. And again, I mean, Ballard, at this time of the year, this is when he proves he's the best general manager in all of football. Yeah. He just does. He did it again. He's still going to keep doing it. He was able to get Gathers back. And I kind of want to get into that just in general, their offseason. I think Houston was a great piece for them, benefited them in the pass rush. Oh, yeah. They needed that big-time pass rusher to go along with Sheard to take some pressure off of Autry and Hunt. But in general, I just, the way this team is handled free agency, it's so underrated. But they fit the right building blocks in there with Funchess as well from Carolina. I just think overall the Colts have been really, really stellar. And getting a guy with the capability of Justin Houston, which they have not had in the pass rush since Robert Mathis. I mean, it's a move that needed to be made, and they made the move. What unbelievable that they got him at the rate that they got him at. Will, what do you think about that in general?
I think it opens up more possibilities for the draft. I think you got all these picks now. You kind of filled a hole a bit.
Got a lot of picks.
You got a lot of picks. You already filled one hole. Do you want to, trade up, get a talent? I mean, where do you even go though? I think you're good.
I think you trade down if you're going to trade.
Really?
The Colts are going to trade. They're trading down. They're just going to gain more picks. I mean, this is how he did it. Look, He had a top 5 pick this last year. He drops down. He gets the Jets to trade down. And look what it does for them. They add a top 2nd round pick. They build. They keep building. I think the only way you're seeing that, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
They're a great team. They could use that big-time prospect. But the way Ballard likes to do things, man, is just keep building through the draft. And I don't see that changing unless they consider to move down, which, again, that would not shock me. If a team called Indianapolis and said, we're willing to trade down, give you a little bit more 2nd round pick leverage, I think that's something to consider.
All right, let's move on to the tournament. This is what we all want to talk about.
Well, it's March. I mean, what do you expect?
We're watching Iowa-Cincinnati right now.
There we are.
Cincinnati.
They're up 29-19 over the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, they've been playing good all game so far. Iowa's keeping in it though. I think we all have Iowa winning, right?
I got Iowa. Yeah.
So
I'm not feeling good about it right now.
I'm about to lose the first game of the day on day 2, but
well, and on True TV as well, Oklahoma 19-9 over Ole Miss. So that's something to keep an eye on. Oklahoma was not a team I was very high on heading into this tournament play.
Did you have Ole Miss winning?
I did.
I
did. Oklahoma. I did. But, I mean, look, I wasn't high on Oklahoma's resume throughout the tournament, so that's why I picked them. But, look, it'll be interesting. It'll be a good day, good solid month of hoops.
I think we all might have the same champ. I think we all might have picked the same champ. I'm not sure. I got Duke.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see. We couldn't see it. We couldn't see it any other way. I think when that bracket came out, they were ecstatic that Carolina was on the other side.
Absolutely.
They were happy about that. They were happy about that.
And I mean, they got a not a cakewalk to the Final Four. I mean, you got Michigan State, but it's Duke. Who's gonna beat them?
Let me point. Look, I mean, when you look at I think something to really keep in mind. Look, I think they'll take whoever they play tonight in North Dakota State. I like UCF in that matchup with VCU. But then look, I think Virginia Tech's legit. Okay, yeah. I do. They've been good. They beat Duke, and they beat Duke. And then granted, Zion was not in that game. Virginia Tech point guard, their star point guard, Justin Robinson, was not in that game. Virginia Tech now has this star point guard. They get their Zion in terms of impact, and they have confidence that they can go in and beat a team like Duke. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and say, I mean, I have Duke winning it all as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think that this is a game. I don't think it's a game that you can necessarily. The road to the Final Four, heading into Sweet 16 play, I think that's something to keep an eye on. I could see that game being a lot closer than people realize.
That's fair enough.
Final Four, who you guys got?
I got Duke, of course.
Yep.
Michigan. And then I got Wisconsin, actually, and North Carolina, of course. With North Carolina playing Duke in the championship. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I got it in the 80s, actually. So,
Damn.
What about you?
Well, let me just start off and bash your Wisconsin pick. Okay, look.
I knew you would.
I mean, look, they're a team. They're a team that.
Come on.
The inconsistency of the Badgers was just something I was worried about. And granted, I mean, I think they could get beat early. I mean, early.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think they could
Today.
get beat. But yes,
Absolutely.
I don't see. There's not a lot of confidence in my part for the Badgers. But my Final Four right now, I got Duke, Michigan, and then on the other side of the bracket, I have the Tennessee Volunteers and North Carolina. To me, that four has a combination of things that I really like. Number one, all four coaches, fantastic. I mean, you're going to rank K number one, Roy number two, Beeline number three, and Barnes number four in terms of those four teams that I mentioned. Rick Barnes being number four, that is not a diss.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick Barnes is a solid coach. Okay, he was very good at Texas. Had Kevin Durant at Texas. I mean, he's been known to develop teams and make teams good. But I had Duke winning as well with the score of 78-72 over North Carolina in the championship. I'm with you guys. The talent of this team. Now, the thing that their depth is an issue. Okay, and they will get Bolden back, but they don't have a deep bench. So they rely heavily on those starters, which I think because of just how talented they are, it's hard for me to see anybody come out and beat them. But it could hurt them. It could hurt them down the run. They're going to need some support from an Alex O'Connell or a Marquise Bolden to try to get something. Try to get something going. I think more than people realize.
Yeah, they're vulnerable.
They are,
to say the least.
They are.
A bad night could do you in, but still, it's almost like a Warrior situation. Like, can you root against them or can you bet against them?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What's the Final Four for you over there, Zach?
Not feeling too good about this.
It's all right.
I got Duke and Texas Tech
Okay.
on the left side. We got Nova and Carolina on the right side. I like Texas Tech's defense. They got a hell of a defense. I think it's going to be a tough. If it happens, they'll play Duke tough.
Mm-hmm.
They won't take,
No, I like Texas Tech, man. I got them in the 16. I think they could beat Michigan. I think they could beat them.
They could.
I like their team. They've got experience. Chris Beard's a fantastic coach. Jared Culver's a fantastic player. I agree with you, Zach. I think they could come in and beat them. I do not think it's crazy. However, I think you're an idiot with Villanova. But I can't. Coming into this, I'm a little bit puzzled with the Villanova Wildcats here in this matchup with Purdue. But I mean, Will, you want to get out of this? Let me hear your thoughts.
I got Villanova beating Tennessee as well.
I just don't. In general, I was not high on the Big East.
Yeah, that's fair,
and that's been proven already.
Absolutely,
3-1 already.
Absolutely.
So Villanova squeezed out against St. Mary's, 61-57.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't put a big. It was a tight game, really. Now you're coming against a Purdue team that
Purdue's good.
They're good,
Yeah.
very good. Now and there's some advantages Villanova has.
Mm-hmm.
Championship experience, better coaching.
Yeah.
But look, I think I just don't see it. I don't see a run in the Final Four happening for them. But look, I think they have the experience over all these teams. So I just think that's something to keep an eye on, as we get later in the bracket.
Well, let me ask you this, all right? Since you hate the Wisconsin pick
do.
so much.
Hey, I'm here for the Big Ten.
Thank you. Since you hate the Wisconsin pick so much, if Villanova upsets Tennessee and Wisconsin upsets Virginia, who's going to the Final Four between Wisconsin and Villanova?
Badgers.
Thank you. I'll
take the Badgers.
That's
I'm just
who
saying
I
I'm
took.
not. I'm just saying I don't agree with Villanova. And Wisconsin on that
the
one.
upsets issue then.
Well, even just the way we look at the way it was handled just yesterday, on Thursday, the 21st. There just wasn't many upsets.
Yeah.
There just wasn't.
Because the Murray State game, that's not an upset.
Not a lot of people think it is.
Yeah.
Okay, the seedings say it is.
Of course.
12-5, but look, I think, Maryland and Belmont, great game.
Yeah.
Great game. Tight game. Maryland pulled it out.
Minnesota.
Sure.
Is that an upset?
No, I count it. Sure, I count it.
Yeah.
I count it. It's a 10-7. It's like close. But I count it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think they would. I didn't think they'd win by double digits.
No.
I didn't think that.
Here's a take. There's no such thing as an upset.
Fair enough.
We've seen it all. After last year, we've seen it all.
Yeah. Even the non-auto bid, the 16s have won it. And that's the thing. It's such a gap. Obviously, if you win your championship, then you're going to be viewed upon, if you're not in one of the top conferences, as not that level. But especially once you start getting into the the bubble teams, those teams are that gap between the 13 almost and the 12.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest gap you have in the tournament.
I can agree with that.
Would you agree? Yeah.
No, I can agree with that.
So
No, I do think there are some good 13s.
Mhm.
Particularly UC Irvine. I like UC Irvine over Kansas State today. But look, I agree with you. I think that's kind of where you see the jump, is from that 13 to the 12. Because then you're getting into teams like New Mexico State, who played very hard against Auburn. And then Murray State obviously was a 12, followed by Liberty, who I think could beat Mississippi State today. And then you got Oregon, who a lot of people like over Wisconsin. So.
Look, Murray State's not an upset.
Yeah.
It's not.
Let's get over it.
They got John Morant. He's the second best player in the country. Second best player in the country. There shouldn't be a 12 seed. It should be top 8 seed.
Yeah.
Probably.
7.
I mean, look, I was a big
12's too
fan
low.
of the Ohio Valley. Okay, you weren't seeing a team. You weren't seeing. I was driving the Ohio Valley. I was driving the train. Okay, for Belmont and Murray State. I'd like to really point this out. Moving them into an 8 or a 7 is a stretch.
Yeah.
This team did not play a strong non-conference. We can talk about John Morant, and we can talk about the fact that he's a top 5 player. We can talk about Shaq Buchanan, who's the Ohio Valley Defensive Player of the Year. We can talk about that all day long. But both them and Belmont deserve probably a double-digit seed. I mean, I don't see that in any other way, and it's just the way it is. I think for me, look, I could see Murray State talent-wise is right there. It'd be interesting if they played in a deeper conference, but they don't. They play in the Ohio Valley. It is what it is. So I think, when looking and assessing where you think Murray State is, you just got to face the facts.
Yeah.
They had them rated as a 12. Marquette was a grossly overrated team as a 5 seed. I was hating on the Big East all season. I personally did not think the Big East would do well in the tournament, and it's been proven at this point. 3-1. Okay? And, when you look at that Big East conference in general, and Marquette was the top team in the Big East. And I was just, when I saw the game on Selection Show Sunday, I was like, Murray's got this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm picking Murray. They're upsetting them. I agree that in somewhat the talent level of Murray State is better than your typical 12 seed or your typical double-digit seed. But let's just face the facts. They beat a 5 seed, and they could beat a 4 seed tomorrow in Florida State. I mean, it would not shock me because, as we've mentioned and talked about off-pod, when you have the best player on the floor, that boosts your confidence. That's the way it is with Cleveland when they had LeBron. That's the way it is with anybody. When you have the best player on the floor, it makes a significant difference. Murray State goes out there every night and really believes that Morant is the best player on the floor. And my question is, are they? It's not really wrong.
No.
To think that.
And like he proves it every time. Like one of the biggest shots from yesterday, the step back, the little sauce before the half. That's why they believe it. That's why, because they're like, 5 seconds, he's got the ball top of the key. Oh, that's buckets every time. And he proves it. I mean, those are the shots that he hits. And that's the stuff that as another team, you're like, what are we going to do?
Also, can we talk about how he had a triple-double?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to get a triple-double in the tournament.
No, not really in college.
And a killer one, too. He had 15 dimes.
Yeah, his assists. Let me just point this. It's worth mentioning, people. He had 17 points, 11 rebounds.
And he only shot 9 times.
Oh, gosh. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Filthy. And the key for them is, look, they've got some great guards with him. And Morant knows that.
Yeah.
With Buchanan's legit. Okay, and as you follow this team along in the tournament, you'll see that. As well as their other guard, Tevin Brown, a knockdown shooter, freshman. Cold 3-point shooter. So, look, I think, this is a team that we could be seeing dance in this tournament. And, make a run.
Yeah, I had them losing this next round, but after last night or yesterday's game, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they go out there and beat Florida State. And then I've never been high on Gonzaga, and if Murray stays hot, you don't think they could? I think Gonzaga's been maybe the tournament's all-time most overrated seed. All time.
This year?
No, not this year, just in general.
Oh.
I feel like Gonzaga always gets a 3-seed bump that they don't deserve. And they made it to the Final Four. They made it to the national championship game. What, 3 years ago or something like that. But other than that, they should have lost to Northwestern that year too. So I've never been big on Gonzaga. But another matchup. If you want to continue on Murray State,
taking it to your Gonzaga point, I just think, look, this was a team. We have Duke right now as our national champion.
Yeah.
I said Gonzaga beat Duke. They beat Duke
I
when
think
they were
Gonzaga
healthy.
could beat Duke.
Yes.
If it gets to that point,
Yes.
you could beat Duke.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The West Coast Conference, weak. Totally weak. They didn't even win their conference tournament. Okay, that's weak. It's embarrassing. Okay, they beat a team who wasn't even supposed to make the tournament. Okay, St. Mary's was not even a team that Lenardi even considered. The bracketologists and many people who are in the game of college basketball thought they could get to the tournament. Yeah. They thought they'd be in the hunt, but not make it. St. Mary's makes the tournament. They beat that number 1 team. I know what you mean. They didn't play well at the end of the season. That would concern me. But I think the depth of their front court this year and the experience they have, and I think Mark Few is an unbelievable coach. I don't care what league you put him in. I don't care if you put him in the ACC. I don't care if you put him in the Big Ten. I don't give a freaking rip where you put him in. He's a good coach.
Yep.
He's a good coach. He's a top 5 coach in the country. And when you can have that type of a coach there with you and collect the talent that they have developed, I would like to point out developed. They don't go out and get freshmen. They go out and develop guys to from that freshman year to get to a point where they can be as good as they are. I'm with Zach. Gonzaga has shown they can beat Duke.
They can.
Gonzaga can beat Duke again. I think it'll be interesting to see what they will do, even against a team like Florida State, who, let me point out, Florida State beat Gonzaga last year. You don't think they're going to want that revenge? I'm not. Mark Few's going to light that fire up.
This might be my biggest upset in the first round. I got ASU over Buffalo.
Really?
Yeah.
I was thinking about pulling the trigger on that one. I don't hate it. I didn't pull the trigger, but
it's fair.
It's a fair pick.
Yeah, I watched Buffalo last weekend in the MAC tournament. Here, college basketball junkie, MAC conference. Great. Okay, look, fun, interesting conference this year. And look, Buffalo was a top team in there. And I can see it, Zach. Arizona State's got great depth. They showed it against St. John's. Buffalo's issue is they do not have great depth. But the interesting part of their team is their arguably best or second best player on their team is their sixth man. Okay, and he's a big man. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I don't remember seeing a team like that in terms of their sixth man being, and especially a big man coming off the bench as a sixth man, arguably being the best player on the team in college. And I think Buffalo came off. They made a great run last year, beat DeAndre Ayton and Arizona last year.
Yep.
They believe they can win. But look. Dort is a fantastic player for Arizona State. I mean, he is about as good as you're going to get, honestly. He'll be a lottery pick if he keeps up what he put up against St. John's. So I agree, Jack. I think that could be an upset I could see by the end of the day.
You got a dark horse?
I mean, look, there's a lot of teams that I kept like, let's seeing what could happen, whatever. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think a team that could make a run. We're talking like lower half of the bracket, like 5 or
I think 5. I think 5, 6.
It's a team nobody would expect.
I mean, look, I would see. I mean, it just personally, I think it's going to be so top heavy that like it's hard for me to even look to consider. I think, to be honest, I think I'd go back to Murray as a team because
seems to be the one.
Yeah.
I just think, to be honest, I just think this tournament is top heavy. I think it was shown yesterday. I think it will be shown today. I think we'll get a couple upsets, but I think it's going to be shown today again. And I mean, I find it hard to find that. I mean, because I there's a lot of upsets I have, in terms of like in terms of a game per se, right? I have Liberty over Mississippi State, and I picked that one pretty easily. I'm not gonna lie. I was able to, I picked Ohio State today. There were some, upsets I picked. But look, I just see that I think it's going to be so top heavy. In terms of making a run, I think the only team that's got that chance, to be honest, in my opinion, is Murray State.
I think that's fair. I mean, we've already talked about Gonzaga, but I think they're the weakest 1 seed. What about Virginia, do you think?
I think they are much better than last year.
Okay.
They added, I think a huge part to that, Will, is when you can get DeAndre Hunter back, a lottery pick, a first-round draft pick, starting at your small forward position, that is obviously it's a big deal for them. I mean, normally you're not seeing Virginia. Virginia's a great team. They've been a great team for the last 5 years. But DeAndre Hunter, he's an NBA type of a player. Virginia, I mean, Brogdon has shown it, but I mean, none of us thought, man, Malcolm Brogdon's going to be a great NBA player. Yeah. Hunter has the athleticism and versatility to make himself a nice player in this league, and they are adding him to the rotation. And guys like Kyle Guy are not going to have, Gardner Webb come out and smoke them. Okay, I mean, it's to me, I think they're going to be as riled up as ever. I mean, I could see them just steamroll through teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I can, and I'm talking anybody in that region. I'm talking anybody. I'm talking whoever wins this Ole Miss and Oklahoma game. I'm talking about who you think could pull it out between Wisconsin and Oregon or Kansas State and UC Irvine. I'm talking that entire region. I think they could just demolish.
That's fair.
And I think they have an ability to do that because I think they're playing with some fire, and they want to make sure that they don't lose in the way that they lost last year.
Yeah, especially Kyle Guy, He's coming out, and he's been hotter than ever this year. I see what you mean, especially because of what happened last year. It's just not going to happen again.
They're so good from downtown.
Yeah,
so good. Yeah. So is Wisconsin your sleeper team?
Wisconsin, is my sleeper team. Yeah. And like we mentioned, if they could get past Virginia, Villanova maybe. I haven't beaten Purdue, but that's just because I don't know. I'm a gut picker, I just pick with my gut. I value a lot history in the tournament. I value if you've been there, because I think experience is something. I think that's part of the reason why IU is never done well in the tournament necessarily. They beat Kentucky, but I value experience, And that's why I picked Syracuse to win, because I felt like Boeheim knows how to get his guys ready for the games. But
not last night.
Yeah, obviously not. But other than that, I think Kentucky and North Carolina are going to be in the Elite Eight. Michigan's going to be there. Other than that, Wisconsin's my definite sleeper team. So
I got Florida.
Florida.
Yeah. I don't have it in my bracket. I think Michigan's going to beat them, but I would not be shocked if we look up and Florida's in the Sweet 16.
I agree with that.
I mean,
farther. I'll add on to that. I think it could go farther. I really like Mike White's guys.
I mean, Hayes is a beast.
Nice player.
I'd never watched him this year.
Hayes, very nice player.
Guy's a beast.
Yep, he is.
And Florida's one of the best programs this century. I mean, they really are.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, basically this century, the SEC's been Kentucky and Florida, and really nobody.
It's an underrated. It's an underrated program, really, to be honest. Since Donovan left, this team, when they had Noah, they went on that 3 championships in a row. I agree with Zach. Florida's legit. They've made runs in the past. No question. I could see them.
I mean, Michigan's gonna be tough because I think Bryce Dacus is damn good, and
I do too.
I think Beeline.
He knows it.
He's probably the best coach without a title.
Yeah.
Fair. I another team I keep in mind on. I'm looking deeper into the bracket, trying to see a team. I like Maryland a lot.
Yeah.
I think
Snuck by.
They snuck by Belmont, but if you saw the way that they played, the second half thing went back to themselves. Okay, I mean, first half they looked rusty as all get out. Dylan Windler, first round lottery draft pick from Belmont, killing them. He was just demolishing the Terps. I mean, he had, just a record-setting night. 35 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, really miraculous. But, that wasn't able to hold up against the Terps. I mean, they have a great down-low game. And in LSU, I think they are a good team. However, I think they squeezed by Yale. And I think the effect of not having Will Wade there is going to hurt them at some point. And I think it could hurt them against Mark Turgeon's guys. And I could see Maryland come in and make a statement and get to – I could see them beat Michigan State as well and put themselves in the Elite Eight conversation.
Yeah, Michigan State wasn't playing phenomenal yesterday either. I don't think Minnesota could beat Michigan State, but –
And here's and overall with that region just pissed me off. How the committee did that pissed me off. You have all these Big Ten teams. All of these Big Ten teams, okay? And you put like all of them in one bracket. So then you have Minnesota playing Michigan State. Why? How in the world do you do that? Izzo mentioned in his post-game conference, the Big Ten look at the tournament. It's filled with the Big Ten. It's just filled. Yeah. But then you have one region that is only one Big Ten team.
Yeah, your hand
one.
Michigan.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, Michigan has Michigan on one side of the bracket. Then Ohio State, if you look at it in the Midwest side, there's only one Big Ten team. That to me is poor. That they chose to put all those Big Ten teams and smash them together in one bracket to beat each other up. I didn't think that was right. I don't give a rip about that geography, location, bullcrap that Stanford AD said in the selection show. I think that's just ridiculous. Put the seedings where you put the seedings, for crying out loud. They got so much money in their pockets anyway. They can get to wherever they need to freaking go. And I just, look, I mean, we're talking about Big Ten teams beating up Big Ten teams.
Yeah. You don't want to see them take each other out in the tournament either. You want to see, all right, how good was the Big Ten team this year? How good were they?
You're not seeing that.
No. You got,
Because you're seeing three teams from the Big Ten in that 4-game pocket.
Region, in the same region.
And that is not poor by the committee. And it's showing because now you're seeing the Big Ten look good. Mm-hmm. Big Ten's beating each other up. You could see teams that maybe aren't as great come in and I just think that was really not handled well by the committee. And I just thought that should be pointed out.
I think we're all IU fans here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I'll say it. I'm rooting for Purdue. I'm rooting for Purdue. I don't care if they get to the Final Four. I don't care.
I'm
They're
rooting
the
for
only
the Big
Indiana
Ten.
team. They're the only Indiana team.
They are. I'm just rooting for the Big Ten.
Got to root for somebody.
I don't affiliate Purdue fan with me. I enjoy the Big Ten conference.
I mean, I don't have them beating Villanova, but I'm rooting for them.
I'm not as idiotic as Will Hogsett is.
Yeah, that's fair. Because the reason I love obviously March Madness. Everyone has their own reasons to love March Madness. My favorite part about March Madness is watching Purdue collapse every year. So whether it's Arkansas Little Rock, in the first round, or I got Villanova next round, that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things ever watched. Matt Painter's post game press conference talking about next year, and it happens every year. Which I'm not. Hey, IU, they've been better than IU probably over the last 10 years. I'd say over the last 10 years.
Really isn't a debate, Will.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is. Even when we had Oladipo, even when we had the big handsome Cody Zeller, they were kicking our ass still. So, and then just as of recently, it's like we haven't been able to come close. Yeah, sure, I would have liked to see him in the tournament. You can make an argument that just a big team, and the Big Ten's proven it this year in the tournament that, maybe I like Belmont, but maybe you should have threw in Indiana. Not saying they would have done anything.
Oh, God, Will. They're not. They would. Oh, God. Well, Indiana just overall, their record, they had that terrible month.
Do you want to know why I picked Murray State? Because IU beat Marquette. That was the reason.
That was a part of it for me, too.
No, absolutely.
That was a part of it
for me, too. 20.
Yeah.
We beat them by 20.
Kills them.
Yeah.
And they were ranked, too. They were ranked at the time.
That was part of it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I see, and IU, specifically, being a fan, does it to me every year. I come in thinking, hey, I know a bit about basketball, right? And, this team, on paper, works well, right?
No.
Nope. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. Every year. It's just it makes me rethink my whole life because I'm a sports journalist. I'm a student learning, and I'm like, hey, I got a decent idea, and it's like these guys are gonna be good, at least decent, and they go and lose 10 out of 11.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Ten's the best conference in college basketball in my opinion, but
better
you
than
can't
the
lose.
ACC.
Yeah. I think the ACC has the better teams.
You think the Big Ten's deeper?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I think past 10 years, I think IU's had better individual teams than Purdue, but Purdue's had the better coach the whole time. They've been better in the tournament the whole time. Here's a question for you guys. IU has sucked. For the most part, they've sucked since Bob Knight got fired. For the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody like Coach K retires, is Duke just going to suck? Is Syracuse going to suck when Boeheim retires?
Here's the thing. When you talk big programs expect that greatness to just come.
Yeah.
And they expect it to come. They don't appreciate what they have. Indiana's the prime example of it. They didn't appreciate what Bob Knight's success has done.
No.
They don't.
He made them a blue blood.
He made them that, and so then everybody is like, more or less, they're saying they want Indiana to get back to that. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Do you watch college basketball? Do you watch these consistent programs? It can't take 2 years.
If you don't have a good coach in college, you're screwed.
Right, it doesn't work. So you have to let Archie Miller develop and understand the Big Ten. Okay? He's not Coach K. He's not Roy Williams. He's not Bill Self. In fact, let me give you this answer. He won't ever be. So the question is, for me, Indiana fans can be absolutely delusional when it comes to understanding greatness.
Yeah.
And it's showing. It's showing this year. It's showing this year. Look, there were a couple articles written about Romeo Langford and the fact that he more or less, with the draft and everything and all that. A lot of stuff's been going on, a lot of drama getting in. I don't know. I think that it takes time to build a great program.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a misconception when it comes to a program. You know, I think people think, especially, I mean, I use a perfect example.
It's
like
the coach.
Yeah, it's the coach.
It's the coach.
It's the coach. Can he recruit? Can he get guys there?
Yep.
And then obviously, if you're winning, it's easier to get guys there.
Yep.
And it's easier to bring people to the program. But I think if you just look back in history, I think once you lose the coach, once your run ends, I think there's plenty of instances where you just drop out. I mean, if you think about it, if it was truly the program, UCLA should be still up there. Like, I mean, they were the greatest program in the history of college basketball. And, I mean, they got Chris Wilkes. They had a good team. They had Lonzo just as of recent. But other than that, where have they been? You know? And so it's not really the program, I don't think.
I don't think it is.
I think it helps to an extent. I think, obviously, if you're in the Big Ten, if you're in the Power Six, any of the Power Six conferences, you get the opportunity to play and show yourself off against other teams that are going to be good, of course. But if you got a good coach, look at Brad Stevens. Who the hell is Butler?
Yeah.
Who the hell was Butler? And they went to two straight national championship games. And then guess what? Butler gets into the Big East. He gets hired by an NBA team, and they're at the bottom of the Big East.
Yep.
Maybe a tournament run every now and then. But it's the coach. It really
Butler
is.
had a good coach, Holtman.
Yeah, Holtman was good.
And now he's at Ohio State, and they're good.
And that's a whole nother issue with Butler. They never have, and they'll never be able to keep their coaches. You know, because unless someone is just truly dedicated to that university and it's very good, I always see him moving on to bigger programs.
Especially if the Celtics come calling. It's like, what are you going to say? No?
In his case, it's fair.
Yeah.
In Steven's case, it's fair. LaVall Jordan's a good coach, though.
I agree.
So, LaVall Jordan's staying around. I don't see why if he gets a bigger job offer, I don't see him taking it. Butler is a Big East program.
Yeah.
They're a Power 5 conference.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I hate the Big East.
So
Big
if
East
UCLA called him, like they're
That's-
not going to call him. I'm not saying
They're not
UCLA
calling
is going to
LaVall
call
Jordan.
LaVall
No.
Jordan. But if UCLA called him,
That's the way for most jobs. Let's just be frank. Calipari,
yeah.
okay. I mean, probably in the back of his head. I mean, I think he's staying in Kentucky, but they have an ability to call guys like that. That's a different situation.
Yeah.
Okay. But if Ohio State calls you, if you're LaVall Jordan or a school like that, I'm declining the phone. I'm declining it. It's a Power 5 team. I'm coaching a Power 5 team. I'm not coaching I don't see in Holtman's case, they were not there in terms of the bigger conference yet. Holtman needed to make that jump. He did. Look what it's doing. They're in the tournament. I think they'll beat Iowa State tonight. And look, I think it's interesting when you get into that kind of stuff. But I think the Big East is a Power 5 conference to me. You can't get much better than a Power 5 conference. There's only a number of jobs out there, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So you have to appreciate what you have, because if you move up in the big leagues too much, you're going to fall right back down. And then if you fall right back down, where are you going to go?
Yeah. And the reason I say that, though, is because, like we mentioned before, there's something to say about playing in the Big Ten. You know, if you could get into that Big Ten, then you're playing the best teams every year, no matter what. And if you're able to get good players at this Big Ten program, and you're able to build at least something and get into the top half, I mean, the Big Ten sends the top half of their conference every year. You know, if you think about it, Big Ten, normally you could get at least probably six.
The two Michigans run the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. Then you got Wisconsin. Ohio State's usually pretty good. Who am I missing? Iowa's usually decent.
Yeah.
Minnesota this year.
Purdu, you got to give it to Purdue.
Yeah, Purdue. Yep.
I mean,
Nebraska. Look, the Big Ten's on the rise in general.
Yeah.
I would argue. Only
Maryland?
a couple. Yes. Maryland was a great pickup.
Yeah.
Rutgers is starting to figure it out. They're not a joke anymore, in my opinion.
No, they're not.
Illinois nailed some top recruits. They're not. They're selling. Brad Underwood's selling them. The Big Ten is not a joke. I agree with you, Will. It's different to play in the Big Ten, like it is for the ACC, like it is for whatever. But I think at this point, it's a Power 5 job. I just don't see why it's a Power 5 job.
Yeah.
There's not many out there, and that's your best chance of getting into the tournament and getting championships.
Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. Like a program like a UCLA, I think it's a little, And I think Indiana, I would argue Indiana is in that ball as well.
Yeah, to an
When
extent.
Indiana calls
Yeah.
a coach, a national coach, they are considering
Yeah.
it. They are considering it. The program's history is spoken for. UCLA's program history is spoken for. And that will resonate. And look, I think there's some programs that are like that, but I'm just, at this point, if you're LaVall Jordan, just keep your job.
Yeah.
With IU, I just don't get why if you're associated with Bob Knight, they won't hire you. I don't get it. I know what Bob Knight did. Okay, I know what he did to get himself fired. I know what he did. The guy was insane. But you're not going to hire Steve Alford?
Oh, come on.
Steve Alford's better than Archie Miller. He's better than Archie Miller.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Listen, I don't know.
No. Let me get
The
fans
fans
right
would
in
love
on
it.
this. Oh, God.
Come
no.
on.
No.
He's better than
Look,
Archie Miller.
No. I mean, Dayton's made tournament runs. I mean, Alford in terms of recruiting the area has done well. He did well, but he was fired.
Yeah.
The man was fired. Archie Miller took a small school Dayton team, consistently made them in the round of 32 and Sweet 16, and the only reason he wasn't able to get farther was because he didn't have that big-time chip. Well, now he has an ability to do that with Indiana. And to me, I don't even think it's a debate. Archie Miller is younger than Steve Alford. Archie Miller has a better defensive plan in place than Alford ever did at UCLA. They were not great defensively. They were very high-octane offensively. And Indiana, just in general, when they've had great offensive teams, it's not ended up well. Tom Crean, when they hired him in the market, but the key to all of this, forget about Bobby Knight. Calvin Sampson ruined the IU program.
Calvin Sampson has a job. He has a job.
Yes, and he's ruined this generation, the late 90s generation of Indiana fans. He's ruined that because of how he chose to handle that. We've been trying to rebuild because of that, not because of Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Not because of Bobby Knight. Because in 2002, this team made the Final Four.
Made the championship.
Yes. Yeah. So that was with Mike Davis at the helm.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Davis. We are talking about a team that got in a program that got just, hit on the side of the head by Calvin Sampson, and it's just not recovered yet.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about Bobby Knight. I think we've done a good enough job replacing. Bobby Knight's been winning championships. We were able to do that. Sampson was the one who drugged the program down.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been hard because top-tier coaches want the jobs in Indiana. When you have a passionate enough fan base as Indiana, a passionate enough athletic program as Indiana, and the respect that Indiana basketball has, because the respect is there, then to me, I don't know. But going back to your Archie Miller, Steve Alford thing, I don't even think it's a debate. I just think Miller's a younger coach. I think he's got more potential, and there's a reason Alford was fired this season.
Yeah, I agree with your point. I don't think Indiana has truly been back yet. Since
Not at all.
we were the number one seed for a whole year when we got Cody Zeller, but you can't. That's not the level that we need. We need the tournament every year. It's like it shouldn't even be it should be like a Duke. Not necessarily to that extent, and maybe Michigan, maybe a Michigan State to that level.
Should at least be able to hang with Purdue.
Better than Michigan State. Have they've done recently?
We should be in the conversations in terms of the history of the program.
Yeah.
With every blue blood school you can think of.
Well, you got UCLA, you got UK.
Yep.
You got Kansas.
Yep.
You got Duke.
Yep.
UNC.
Yep.
And then us.
That's what it should be.
That's
what it should be.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. Yeah. Right there, those 6 teams. Michigan State, in terms of historical, they have dominated the Big Ten. They have dominated Big Ten regular seasons. Okay? But then, the thing is, I'm just going to be honest, Indiana should be a top 10 program year in and year out. That is what they should be.
Hang with Purdue.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Come on.
No, you're right. I agree. In fact,
Can't miss the tournament.
they shouldn't be hanging, honely. If you look at the history, if you're looking at history, if you're thinking about the tradition of IU basketball, it shouldn't even be close. Okay? It isn't even close. I don't care how many head-to-head wins. Head-to-head wins don't matter to me. Big Ten regular season titles, they're great.
Yep.
Big Ten tourney titles, they're great. But can I tell you something? How many titles does Purdue have? 0.
Got it in
How many titles does Indiana have?
5.
That's all that matters.
They've got an NIT championship. So
IU has an NIT championship.
yeah, we beat
Wow.
Purdue in the final. So we
Wow.
got 6 banners.
Let me just say, we're not winning the NIT. We're not winning the NIT.
Oh God, I hope you lose. Actually,
I don't think we're gonna win the NIT.
They don't care.
no.
Sucks and they don't care.
No, Deron Davis does.
I like that, though.
Yeah.
But some of those guys don't care. And let me just point this out. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because you've played like you haven't cared all season. You sat on your butthole and you did nothing for an entire month. Mm-hmm. We're talking about mediocre play in the first half from Juwan Morgan against St. Francis. St. Francis.
Where is St. Francis?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Believe so.
Okay.
St. Francis. Juwan Morgan, mediocre in the first half. Just mediocre. A team from the MEC, the MEC. Just guarding Juwan Morgan.
Yeah.
A Big Ten, third team all for it. That's realistic, right?
Yep.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Third team all, Big Ten player getting guarded by a team in the back. Are you kidding me right now? No, it doesn't make any sense. No, I'll give you the answer to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It is awful, and it is a joke. It is a joke that, in general, the way this team is played, this team is might as well to end their season, may as well win the NIT at this point. Because to be completely honest with you, that would summarize their season.
Yeah.
A team that was inconsistent all season, all of a sudden they figure out that they can wake up after St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and win the tournament. Okay, it's a joke. It's a joke.
IU shouldn't have beat Butler. You remember that?
Oh, I shouldn't have.
Beat him at a buzzer.
Butler sucked. But Butler wasn't very good this season.
Shouldn't have beat
At
Butler.
the end of the day, they weren't that good.
But somehow we beat Michigan State twice.
Marquette.
Beat Marquette, who was good early in the year.
Should have beat Arkansas.
Wisconsin.
Beat Louisville.
Beat Louisville.
That's
at
probably
home.
another reason
Badgers?
Louisville lost, because they lost IU. Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't get it. There's no reason IU shouldn't be good.
Inconsistency. And can I be frank with you? I'm not hearing the next year we're better conversation.
No, I'm not either. I can't
That has
see
been
it.
extremely. That has been a conversation has risen over the last couple of months. Not a chance.
No, don't get me wrong. I love fantasy, and Justin Smith is he's what the team rides on. If he could be consistent, listen. Last year I didn't love him, but if he could do what we've seen him do
Oh, come on.
consistently, if he could become consistent, then
That
we're
is
talking.
extremely hard to say.
I know. Because we
Him and
haven't seen
Devontae
it.
Green, when you talk about the definition of consistency,
Yeah.
is very hard to define for those two young.
Well, that's why
No
this is
chance.
where Archie. This is where Archie has to step up, and I think that I'm not.
When
listen,
has he?
He hasn't, and I don't think. I think especially because they didn't get Keon. We didn't get Keon. I think that hurts a lot. I didn't expect Keon to go to Kentucky, but
I mean, the only reason IU is even on the bubble is because they're in the Big Ten.
yeah.
That's the only reason.
Quad one wins. But look, I mean, that's a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But quad one wins in a non-conference were the reason why. Let's just be honest. But they didn't look for that. They wanted wins. And you know what Indiana doesn't give them? Wins. They don't give them wins. I don't give a rip about quad one wins. They wanted overall
Just
wins.
wins.
And Indiana had the quad one wins to back it up, but they had to win the games. Rutgers at Rutgers.
And if you're an IU fan, you knew damn well we weren't going to do anything in the Big Ten tournament. You
No,
knew damn
disagree
well.
with
That's just really.
No, this.
When
at
have we
that
ever
point
done
time-
anything in the Big Ten
At
tournament?
that point, I agree in that regard. It makes sense. But, I mean, we were talking about one of the hottest teams in the Big Ten heading into that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
We were. But that team looked, again, just goes back to this inconsistency. They just, same way they played in February
Skid
and in
killed them.
January.
The Skid
Yeah.
killed them.
Yes.
Killed them.
That is the loss to Ohio State was such a IU loss. It was insane.
It's just classic.
That is at least what we've known as IU. The IU that we've grown up around.
Yeah.
That is right on the money. if you had to pick one game out of the whole season to lose, given every situation possible, that is the game you pick. You know what? They're going to do that to us right there. Right when, we're coming hot. It's the Big Ten, and I knew it was coming. I wanted to think, oh, yeah, we're going to beat Ohio State. I mean, we got so much up for grabs, but of course, man. And it started since it's Wisconsin. I mean, I feel like we've never made it, at least in my recent memory, past the second round of the Big Ten tournament. And I don't
never won it.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't have we even made it to the finals.
I don't think so.
They've been miserable in the Big Ten.
Because it's usually Michigan State.
Last couple of years. Yep.
Michigan State seems like wins it every year.
Yeah.
One of the Michigans wins it every year.
Yeah,
you're right.
Let's go back to the bracket. Who's the first number one you've got losing?
Gonzaga.
Where at?
I got them losing next round.
To Florida State or Baylor?
I had them losing to Syracuse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of screwed there. But that's what I mean. I think that's the weakest. I think that's the weakest region. I think Michigan's gonna win that one. But you're right, Murray State. I think if Gonzaga gets past there, I think Murray State's got a shot. But I think they're the weakest number one seed. Other than that, I don't obviously have Wisconsin go to the Final Four, but Virginia can as well. They're hot. Duke's not going to lose. I can't see Duke losing.
No.
And so North Carolina, they're hot as well. So who's your first number one seed?
My first number one seed that I have losing is Gonzaga.
You guys hate them. I don't get it.
I do. But I don't hate. I mean, I have. The reason I do, though, I believe.
See what they did yesterday? I know they're playing Fairleigh Dickinson.
No, I don't hate. I mean, it's just the way I set up my bracket. If I'm going to be honest with you, Zach, if I'm going off logic and I'm saying what's the worst number one overall seed right now, I mean, I would say it's Virginia. For me. Mm-hmm. Just for me.
That's fair.
I'm just going off of what I have on the bracket. Because, in my opinion, the committee screwed that side of the bracket. They should not be having Michigan State. They should not be having the bracket the way they set it up. Especially with the top 4 seed like a Florida State. They should not be having them and Gonzaga line up against each other. And if I'm just going off that opinion, but in terms of the bracket itself, Virginia's road to me is, especially to the Elite Eight, is about as easy as you can get. I mean, to me, it's not even close. I mean, I think that road is the easiest. I genuinely believe that.
The road to the Elite Eight.
Wholeheartedly believe that. Because you look at Duke and then you have to play a UCF team that will provide different challenges with follow. You look at a team like Virginia Tech and Duke, which that will be a difficult matchup for them. That will be, period. They faced them twice. They know how to play them, and it's going to show. Okay, and I would say Virginia's path is the clearest. But if I'm just evaluating the overall teams without knowing a bracket, I would say Virginia.
You think Virginia will get past Tennessee?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
No, I'm confident on that. I love the Vols. I think they are a great team. I have them in the Final Four, and it would not shock me if they bust my bracket and say that they could go in and beat Duke or even win the national championship, for crying out loud. I mean, that is a good team down there in Knoxville.
I've got all the 1 seeds in the Elite Eight, but I've got Gonzaga and Virginia losing in the Elite Eight. Because I had Texas Tech beating Gonzaga.
Okay. No, I have every 1 seed in the Elite Eight besides Gonzaga. But look, I in terms of talent, they're better. They're better than Florida State. I just think it's just I can't explain it. It's the way it is. But look, because I just think the way Virginia's path is this year, it's a cakewalk.
So what do you think? What region is most up for grabs? Would you say then? I mean, I think
Virginia's region.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think
it's I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy to say Wisconsin beats Virginia. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
But if it happened, I'd be like, it's Wisconsin. They've done damage in March. Like Will said, history says it.
And I think there's something to say, like you mentioned a bit, the Midwest. I think that
bottom right.
I think that Kansas North Carolina matchup. Kansas hasn't been their normal self this year.
Kansas Auburn tomorrow.
Yeah.
Two inconsistent teams at the 4-5 spot. They've been really up and down all year. I've been giving Kansas the upper hand. I'm going with basically what I decided was who's the better coach, and I'm taking Bill Self in that. So that's literally all I did and then I took advantage of the size of DJ Lawson, and that was basically all I did. So look, I genuinely really think that when it's all said and done, we'll be talking about a good tournament. But then again, I really think that South region has potential to be a bust bracket. You could see upsets. You could see a 13 and a 12, and UC Irvine and Oregon. You can see, depending on how it all falls, I think another interesting thing, I agree with Zach, is what Arizona State can do against Buffalo. I think that'll be interesting. And
4:00 today.
And look, it is. And Texas Tech and Northern Kentucky. I like Texas Tech, but the 3 and 14s have been commonly happening recently. Is this the 3-14? Northern Kentucky was not bad in the Horizon League, and they were in the same league as IUPUI, and they were good. They were a very good team in that league. So I think that could be very interesting, and I think another potential to be a bracket buster is when you look at the 6-11 and the 3-14 in the Midwest. I think it's potential there. Georgia State, with Ron Hunter. Look, Ron Hunter has known how to win games like this, and Chris Holtman to me is a fantastic coach, and I'm taking him over Iowa State in that regard. And I think I think there's some potential to be a bracket buster, but then for me it is the South region in terms of the opportunity being up for grabs. If Purdue's injury with Eastern continues, that will obviously make that a bigger deal as well.
With Purdue, I know they won yesterday pretty easily. Kind of easily.
I was about to say, they were, very good in the first half.
But I don't get why they didn't run the pick and roll with Harmsmore. Who's going to stop that?
I agree.
Who's going to stop that?
I agree. No, I agree. I wrote in my column for Campus Citizen that look, and just check my name out, put Caleb Lynn on the tag, and I went on that talking about that Purdue Old Dominion and that region, and look, I agreed. Harms has been fantastic in this last month or so, and the fact they didn't center him more against a team that didn't have a lot to go up against him really, I thought was poor. And so I think that's something that they will need to do against Villanova. Villanova does not have the depth down low to contain Harms. I think Phil Booth and Carson Edwards, what a matchup. Yeah. What a matchup. That'll be something to really, really keep an eye on. And but no, I'm with you. Weird game. Yeah. But then there's also benefits to it, though, if I'm looking at it optimistically. So I start Eric Hunter. Eric Hunter has not started a game for me all year. He starts in the NCAA tournament, and he doesn't look like a joke. Mm-hmm. If IU had that looks like a joke. Okay. Aaron Wheeler looked good. He was playing for a little bit more for Eastern. Very efficient. And that's something that they need moving into the next weekend, the next push to the tournament. So I really think there's some optimism in that win as well, though. And it could benefit them. And it could lead them to, it would not shock me, to be quite honest with you, if we see Purdue beat Villanova by 15 points.
Yeah.
Especially with how they played against St. Mary's, Villanova.
They got away with it.
Yeah.
St. Mary's offensively was challenged, particularly at the guard spot, I felt like. It showed. Mm-hmm. And Villanova's experience showed. And I think that's why they prevailed.
I don't know. I just think Jay Wright versus Matt Painter.
I think that coaching matchup's a win. But I'm just going to go back to what Purdue's been doing all year, which is winning basketball.
Is Carson Edwards the best player in that game, you think?
Yeah, it's not close.
I think if there is something to say about Purdue, Edwards is there, but I think they've learned to play whenever he's not doing as good. I think they've learned throughout the season.
I agree with that because his shooting, I'm going to go right off of that.
I think he had 24 last night. At least.
I believe so.
At least.
And his shooting, he's been very up and down. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you, Will. That is And if he is up and down, he was 7 of 23.
Yeah.
You guys, he was 7 of 23. And when you play teams down, you're talking about, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Purdue can't afford 7 of 23 from Carson Edwards against Tennessee. I don't
You're
care.
right.
I don't care how good their other players have been because I've been high on the support of this team. I've written on my column all year that this supporting cast has been the reason they are as good as they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for me, when I look at this team, you cannot rely on 7 of 24 shooting to beat Villanova. And you're not going to rely on it to beat anybody else in that region in terms of the top seeds as far as I'm concerned. And that's something to keep an eye on because, when it's all said and done, Ryan Klein was 1 for 11. Ryan Klein is a shooter.
Yeah.
He is a shooter. When you go 1 for 11, that is not a good thing at all. Now, don't get me wrong. Shooters normally don't have back-to-back bad games. I get it. Okay, it's a defensible argument if you present the other side to me. But all I'm saying is when they get that type of inconsistency, they're not playing Old Dominion anymore. Mm-hmm. They're playing Power 5, tough, physical, rugged teams that are going to beat you up and that aren't afraid of you. And, and Villanova, with Jay Wright, I agree with Zach. That's going to be a factor in the game. How are they going to defend Edwards? What are they going to do? Are they going to try to double him off the pick and roll, force him to be more of a facilitator, which in that case means Harms can't afford to be a bad shooter. Mm-hmm. That means Eifert has to get in the lane, make cuts, make good decisions. To me, I see Purdue as a team that it is heavily reliant and a huge X factor in their entire run through this tournament is the shooting percentage of Carson Edwards.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's kind of how it's been all season, yet somehow they've found a way to win,
And that's credit to I put it on my column. It's a credit to the other players. Matt Harms in this last stretch has been nothing but short of fantastic.
Yeah.
And Eastern has been nothing but short of fantastic, and he's injured. He's injured. Okay, I mean, that's a huge factor for this team. He's a big guy for them. He rebounds well for them. He gets double-doubles for them. And it comes out of the wing position and can guard your best perimeter player. And we could be talking about Eastern not being able to play in that game, which could affect how Purdue wants to go at them defensively. And Eric Hunter is a smaller guard. They don't really have... You're telling me Carson Edwards at that point would have to guard Phil Booth. Are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
That's no, with the way Edwards is used offensively, that's not going to work. And that's not going to end up well in your favor at the end of the game when you're going to need him the most. And so I think when looking and assessing at Purdue in that game, I think beating Villanova is likely. I just don't see them beating Cincinnati. I don't see them beating Iowa, to be quite frank, and I don't see them beating Tennessee. I think Iowa would be a close game. I guess I could see that pull out. Cincinnati in Columbus. That's the only reason I would say that. But if Tennessee will play them hard, and it's gonna heavily rely on a lot of things going right for them with the Eastern injury and that Klein has to be better than 1 for 11. Period.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about Ja Morant in the draft?
I think he goes number 1 any other year that Zion's here.
Yeah.
That Zion's not there. I think he easily goes number 1 last year. I think you'd be...
Who went number 1 last year? Aiden.
Yeah, I think you'd be messed up not to pick him, especially over Markelle Fultz. But I think even Barrett almost would go number 1 last year as well. So I think there's a lot, and me and Caleb talked about this a bit yesterday. I think there's a lot of talent on the top half of the draft. I think Zion almost is a guaranteed generational player, almost. I mean, you can't ever do that. You never can guarantee. Like look at Greg Oden. He got injured. But you can never... I think almost as close to LeBron as a guaranteed generational player. But I think Ja Morant has a lot of potential. I think he could eventually lead a team to... a championship. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, the lottery this year... If you get any of those top 3 picks, I think you're in the clear.
Yeah, I think you're good. I mean,
yeah.
Cam Reddish is a little.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's. I don't know if he's going to be in the pros. I really don't know. I don't know what his ceiling is. I think on any other college team, he might be the best player.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. If it was any other year, Ja Morant's number 1.
Yeah. You pick him over Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I mean, he just dominated that game yesterday. Just totally dominated. He only took 9 shots. Totally dominated. Best player on the court, not even close. So if let's say it goes Knicks, Suns, and then like Cavs in the draft, in the lottery. The Knicks are taking Zion. They have to.
Yeah.
They are.
They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever gets the number 1 pick, it's probably going to be the Knicks because they're so bad.
Yeah.
You have to take.
Yeah.
It should take like 5 seconds.
And then you can't pass up on. I don't think you can pass up on Morant if you're next.
No.
Especially if you're the Suns.
Yeah.
And then I don't mind Barrett with the Cavs. I think that's a good fit as well. I mean, especially with Colin Sexton, who's been going off this year a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's an underrated rookie class this year a bit. I mean, I think every year there's a couple players, but I'm not willing to say that Doncic is the best rookie in the league yet, especially after.
I am.
You're confident with that?
I'd say he's first, Trae Young's second.
Yeah. I mean, I'm beyond confident. There's
then probably
no other
Bagley
rookie in the
third.
league that I'm taking.
Bagley third.
Bagley.
Are you kidding me, Will?
It's Luka.
It's Luka, and to me, that 1-2 gap is not even a competition.
I think Trae has closed the gap more than people thought.
I agree, but I'm not. He's 6'8". He's been in European leagues. Zach and I have talked about this on this pod. He has played against professional bodies, experienced bodies. There's a reason he had immediate success. There is a reason for that. Doncic will keep that going as far as I'm concerned, and it will only help when they add Porzingis.
You said you're not ready to say he's the best?
I think there will be a point. I think obviously this year I think he's proven that he's the best, but I think there could be a point where there's someone that emerges from the class that's better than him. I think he's already, because he's had that pro, and I think someone at least has. All I'm saying is I think that he doesn't have the highest ceiling in the class, and I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure Trae Young has the highest ceiling either.
Who's going to be better in the long run, the Kings or the Mavs?
Kings. I don't think they're. I think that's.
So you think the Kings made the right pick?
I think the Kings did. I like Bagley.
I like him too. That killed him. That killed them when he went down. That basically screwed him out of the playoffs.
I agree. It did. I agree. That did not help them.
No.
He's a player that they really needed to help finish that second half stretch, and unfortunately, that's just not going to happen. But look, when you look at assess that draft class, the top half of the draft to me is great. Bottom half of the draft to me is a piece of crap.
Last year or this year?
This year.
This year.
It's a piece of crap. In terms of what's coming into the draft, to me, it is not very good.
Romeo a lottery pick?
He's on the edge.
Think he's a lottery pick? That's top.
I mean,
what is that?
If you're drafting for potential, yeah.
I'm going like third.
Top 14.
I'll go with, sure. Yes.
That's lottery, top 14.
I think right around there. But again, that's not definitive.
Yeah.
That's not definitive. And before the year started, that was definitive. So that does not help him moving forward.
I don't think he's top 10.
I don't either.
I don't think he's top 10.
No, I don't either. And I don't even think that's a debate. Look, I think when you look at the top of this draft board, it is very good. But when you look at the bottom half, it is really not that good. It is just not. I mean, I'm not even gonna be. I don't care if I'm being offensive. The bottom half of the draft is absolutely going to suck.
Juwan Morningside in there, second round.
Oh God. Well, again. I mean, I think he can. I mean, he can get in the second round. I'm just saying. But again, the bottom of the half of the draft sucks.
Yeah. Carson Edwards getting drafted?
He's staying in the year.
Oh, I thought he was a senior.
No, I mean he's a junior.
Oh, okay.
He's staying.
You think he's staying another?
It doesn't hurt him. It's the same way as Yogi. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's gonna either bump his. It's gonna stay the same. It's not really gonna bump it.
Would he get drafted if he went this year?
Yeah. Sure.
First round?
Second round high.
Second round.
Second round, like top second round. Like I'm looking at him as like a possible building block to my roster. I could see that. I just don't think for him. I think he has to be more consistent. So that's why I'm not getting into that. And that's why I think a lot of people in this draft, a lot of players in this draft, need to, I think there's some guys that could definitely use that draft now. Mm-hmm. There's some guys that I also think, it would not hurt them to stay. And so I think when you look at the top of the draft, it's great. Bottom half, it's trash.
I want to see Zion on the Hawks. I mean, I know the odds are slim because the Hawks have been playing pretty good, but that would just be fun. That'd be a fun watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I don't want to see him on the Suns.
No.
Or the Knicks.
Yeah, because you hate the Knicks and the Suns just because of how badly ran they are.
Suns low key are just as badly run as the Knicks. They're pretty terrible. Their lottery picks: Dragon Bender, Alex Len,
Ayton.
They're bad. I like Booker. So.
What do you think Ayton's gonna be?
Ayton's bad. Ayton's okay. Listen, he's a double. Don't get me wrong there, but for a number 1 overall pick,
Should they pick Luka or Bagley?
I don't know. I don't think Luka fits. I think you go with Ayton just because he fits better. Don't get me wrong, but
They were kind of in a weird spot. It's
Yeah.
kind of weird to say because they had
trade
number
down.
1 pick.
Look at the Celtics. Look what the Celtics did when they traded down.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
Tatum.
What's your thoughts on Ayton?
I think he's a.
Is he gonna be like a
I think he's
Andre Drummond type?
Yeah, that's pretty. I think he's an all-star, maybe
Like every
4-year,
every
5-year
couple
all-star.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
just
he's a
seems like a
consistent
Drummond.
player. But I think we have a lot of good big men in the league right now.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think
That's fair.
when you're talking about Andre Drummond being, maybe not even in the top 5 anymore, I think he's a good player if he could, become.
I don't think he is in the top 5.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a lot. I think, Boogie's probably. Who is the best big man in the league? I hate breaking off into this topic, but.
No problem. I can talk about it.
Jokic?
I think it's Joel Embiid.
Embiid?
Yeah.
I'm probably going with Embiid too.
I'm going to go with Embiid.
It's just weird when you say big man because
What are they
Anthony
anymore?
Davis,
Yeah.
Cat.
Yeah.
Cat's a big man.
Cat's a big man.
I'm going to
but-
say Embiid, though, just because he's so
Yeah, I agree.
physically unstoppable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Like Jokic, he's not unstoppable.
Yeah.
You could you could probably throw Al Horford on him,
Yeah.
stop him.
I agree.
But Embiid, like, damn man,
Yeah.
he just kills the
I'm with-
Pacers every time.
I'm with you.
What do you think Aiden's gonna be, Caleb?
I like Ayton. I
I don't
the
like his
hatred you
defense.
guys are giving him, I just think is ridiculous. I think he's a.
Andre Drummond, that's kind of a compliment. A little bit.
He's not though. That's not who he. I mean, Drummond's a great player, but he's not Drummond.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's not He's not going to be a Hall of Fame rebounder, and defensively, it's not close. Ayton is not a very good defensive
not a
player,
good defender.
and Drummond is a very good
Yeah.
player on defense. So I think Ayton is a very different center than what we've had in the past. I mean, he's a guy that he's very versatile for his position in terms of switching. And his ability to guard, smaller players to be able to guard quicker guards. Ayton definitely has the capability to do that.
Yeah.
He's shown that a lot in this season that he's been able to do that. And that is a big thing because when you try to go up against, when they try to build their team, the plan to build their team, say you face a team like Milwaukee. If I have a switch with Ayton and Giannis,
Yeah.
I'm
He can
not
pull that
mad.
off.
I'm not mad about it. Like, I'll take my chances. I will. Against most fives, I will take DeAndre Ayton. Most fives, and because of his versatility, his quickness laterally, and I think it's just been an adjustment for him. Like the other thing we have to keep reminding ourselves is he's 20 years old.
Yeah.
It's true.
Can we just think about that for a sec?
It's true.
Like he's young. He's super young.
We're older than
It's
him.
not an
Yeah.
It's an adjustment period to get into this league. Not everybody necessarily has to be insane in that first season or great in the first couple seasons, but I feel like there is a level of impatience that goes on in sports, and I think this is an example of just a player that we've been impatient on because he is the number 1 pick, and he's still putting up a marvelous season at 16 and 10.
Yeah, no, he put up good numbers.
Again, I just don't. His player efficiency rating is really nice as well, and so I don't.
They just suck.
Yeah,
They
I was
just
about to
suck.
say there's something.
They suck, but that's not on him.
I know, and then it's not. But there's something to say whenever the franchise sucks.
They have talent.
They have.
They do.
They just suck.
They suck. The
doesn't
front
make any
office
sense.
sucks.
Oh yeah.
That's the key to all.
Terrible owner.
Terrible owner.
I don't hate the getting Oubre though. I don't hate that, but
No, I think they made the right personnel
Yeah,
moves.
okay.
I think going back to what Zach and I are talking about is the front office has not been handling decisions properly.
Okay.
They have not been able to land a consistent coach.
Mm-hmm.
They have not been able to land something that has been able to drive them and drive their team for 10 years, and that's a factor.
Mm-hmm.
And
You can't get around a bad owner.
No, you
You
can't.
just can't.
You can, and they have one. And at the end of the day, it's shown. It's like deteriorated. It's like fallen into all these other departments, and it's affected them because because you're not. It's going to be hard for them to get a star now, and they've got some great young talent. So I just think it'll be interesting again, kind of see where they try to gel. I think they thought they could get it this year when they signed Ariza and they signed some veterans to bigger deals for quicker short-term options. Just didn't work out this year, and a lot of it has to do with coaching, and some of it. I mean, Ayton was not healthy for a part of this year. He was not. He was out for a lot of games, and that does not help you as a team in general. When you lose a player of his talent on that team, that doesn't help you. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something to keep in mind as well when you look at Phoenix. Especially heading into next year.
Will, we did our All-NBA teams last time. Do you think you could give us All-NBA first team?
Yeah.
It's tough. Well, kind of tough. There's 2 locks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Giannis.
Yeah.
I'm going
Giannis and Harden are the locks.
Giannis for sure. Harden.
It's
Paul
tough.
George.
Paul George.
Embiid. Who's been playing? Who's my guard? Who's
You
my
got
last
Embiid
guard?
over Jokic?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't remember who I had for my point guard.
Who's my guard? It can't be Steph. Who'd you have?
I think I had Steph.
Yeah, we had Steph.
You had Steph.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
And then you need a power forward.
Giannis. I got Giannis, Paul George,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Embiid.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Curry and Harden.
Yeah.
Curry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess there's
no
3
one else
locks.
has been outplaying him. No one else has been outplaying him.
See, I had
think-
Kawhi over Paul.
Really?
Yeah. But when I looked at it, Kawhi's only played like 52 games. He's missed a lot of games.
Yep.
And the only reason, I'll throw this out there, the only reason I don't have LeBron James in is because of the injury. I think Paul
Is he going
George...
to make a team? All-NBA team?
Let's just hope.
Think he'll make the 3rd team?
Well, I mean, he's got better numbers than
Yeah.
Kevin Durant.
He's got good numbers. He does.
But he's been injured, so, I mean, we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting road without him for the first time ever, or for the first time in 8 years. So
We'll wrap it up with this. Who's your MVP?
I'm
James Harden or Giannis? It's tough. It's tough this year. I don't think it's tough, but for the voters, it's going to be tough.
I mean, give it back to Harden.
I think it's Harden.
Yeah, you give it. I give it back to Harden. I mean, I think he's proven. But here's the thing: they don't vote. It's the most valuable player. Harden is the most valuable player.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily vote for that the whole time.
Oh, yeah. We'll wrap it up here. Guys, thanks for coming on. It was a good one.
Yeah.
Let's watch some basketball.
Always a pleasure.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
get to the madness.